Are we focused? We're focused. What's wrong?
I don't know where the fucking record button is.
I'm already recording.
Oh,
it's alright. I've only
What's up, bitches?
Not on this channel.
Why?
Because this is my booktube channel.
What's up, bookworms?
My friend is here while I'm recording this, so here we are. Let's
get on with the soft girl shit.
Soft girl?
Because you're soft, like a marshmallow. Your aesthetic is soft too. The music you use is soft.
It's been almost 3 months.
5 months.
3 months since the last time I posted a video.
Slow reading that.
And I want to kind of talk about like why I haven't been posting. Honestly, you probably don't care. You watching this video probably don't even remember who I am. You don't know why you're subscribed to me anymore.
Who are you?
I'm probably going to lose subscribers from posting and people getting notifications and not remembering who I am. But hi, hello. Part of the reason why I was not posting as much as I should be is because of me feeling like I don't have any content to offer. Typically, the videos that do well on my channel seem to be videos where I'm like reviewing something / analyzing something. And I like doing those videos, so that's actually good because I know there are some YouTubers where like their most popular videos are videos that they don't care about. But these are videos that I enjoy doing. I like analyzing like books, obviously. So those are videos that do well. Well, regardless, those are the videos that do very well. I think for a while I just got caught up so much in like I shouldn't post unless I have read something or reviewed something, and that's not necessarily the case. But even then, I was like, I had the mentality of like, if I'm not reading something, then what else can I post? I have nothing else to offer. Recently, I have decided that every Friday I would be recording something, whether it's actual me reviewing a book or not.
New videos coming every Friday.
Yeah, Fridays are the days where I dedicate to like me having an open schedule, because part of me becoming an adult is making sure that I like make time for things that I like to do, because it becomes very easy to fall into like the trap of like, I don't have time to do things that I like to do anymore. So I'm trying to like fall into the practice of actually making time for things. And this is me trying to make time for things. The plan is, even if I haven't read something, even if I don't have a review ready to provide, I would at least do some sort of update / vlog thing where I just talk about what I have been doing, which I have written down, not on this side, on the other side, but a list of things of like me just informing you about what I've been up to. So I'm going to get into talking about what I have been up to that is like mostly book related. The first thing is that I was reading a book that I stopped, and I haven't even decided if I'm going to DNF it or not. Can you pass it over there? It's a black and white one. The book is called I Want to Be Your Jolie Ramone, and I'm halfway through it, if you can see. More or less halfway through.
No, you gotta do the little...
I gotta do the beauty guru bullshit. Can you see it? Can you see it?
Focus.
I'm about halfway through it. The reason why I have mixed feelings. At first, when I was reading it, I didn't really like it. As time wore on, I have very mixed feelings about it, and I'm gonna tell you why. In the back, the blurb basically gives you the idea of, it's about this girl named Emily Black, and her whole thing is that her mother left when she was just a baby, and she lives with her father. She's really into like rock music, I guess you could call it. She's really into rock music. When I say she's into it, she's into it. So the book is basically saying that she uses music in order to find her mother again, aka she starts her own band, she becomes famous in order for her music to reach her mother and hopefully like reconnect with her. I don't like it just because it starts off very much so as like with the trope of like really young girl only knows music from like 70s and 80s that only like someone who's older would like know, and not necessarily music that their age group would necessarily like be into. Not to say that there aren't teenagers like that, but it's very much so a common trope of like music and TV shows and movies that characters in YA are interested in are only things that like the author is familiar with. So it's like they're into like older stuff that the people that they're marketing to doesn't even actually know, but they try to act like, oh, they're just so hipster. So that's part of the reason why I didn't like it. It quickly became a thing of it's not just Emily's story, it's actually Emily and her mother's story, because the perspectives change like every other chapter or so, which is another big pet peeve of mine. I absolutely hate it when books change perspectives.
Hate!
When
Hate!
I hate it when books change perspectives halfway through, just because I feel like perspective matters, and I'm going to talk more about that in later videos. But how you write something, perspective really changes of how readers will interpret certain characters, certain actions, will change how the plot develops. So when you do this weird thing of like, oh, I'm going to switch in between two different characters because I want to tell their stories, when you can easily just do that by telling it in third person omniscient, girl. Regardless, halfway through, we discover more about Emily Black's mother and why she left her family, her insecurities as a mother, more about her backstory of like what happened to her. And easily, this is a trigger warning, it became very apparent to me that the story is inherently not about what it's marketed as. AKA, and this is your trigger warning now for sexual assault / rape. But basically, Emily's mother was raped in a very, very, very graphic manner. And in self-defense, she killed her assaulter. During this, she skipped out of town in order to basically like live a life and not be prosecuted, because they live in a small town, so they weren't necessarily sure that the police were going to do their due diligence on the case and all that. So they had ample time. And when I say they, I mean Emily's mother and her husband, Emily's father at the time, because Emily wasn't quite in the picture just yet. They skipped out of town, settled in this like little apartment somewhere in another state, I forgot where, and settled down. Thus came in all her insecurities of like being a bad mother, and that somehow her sins of being assaulted would leak over into Emily, and that she would be a bad influence in Emily's life. You picking up what I'm putting down? Like, she just felt as though she wasn't good enough for her family, both her husband and her child, right? So because of this, she left, and Emily's father did the only thing he knew to do, was to go back home, and where he was closer to his parents. They had and have take care of Emily. From there, Emily's interpretation of how her mother is very starkly different from how she actually is. I say this because, and I'm trying to like be in the middle of frame here, but I say this because Emily definitely sees her mother as this strong, fierce, outspoken, crude sort of woman. And she kind of wants to be like her mother and wants to resemble her mother. But the thing is, her mom isn't like that. And I think the second half of the story, where it was getting into, was starting to foreshadow, like, getting into explaining to you as a reader that Emily's mother is not necessarily who she wants or wants to believe she is. And it's foreshadowing this inevitable disappointment that Emily will have to deal with. That all being said, and I spoiled like half the book, I'm sorry. That all being said...
Yeah, spoiler warning alert a much, huh?
I'll put it in editing. But all that is to say that the book is not marketed with emphasis. The emphasis, when you look at anything that having to do with the book, is on the music. On this coming of age, breaking out artist sort of like rise to stardom sort of story, which it's not. Emily becomes a star within like a few pages. Like I remember within like 2 pages they were explaining like she was signed to someone, she was on a tour, and she was in another city where like she had this religious, like she was already garnishing her following of loyal fans and stuff like that. Like her stardom, her rise was 2 pages. So she went from being a nobody to being upcoming hot artist within like a couple pages. So the emphasis on like this rise to stardom story wasn't there. The emphasis is more on this assault that happened to her mother. And to me, the story, although it is also emphasis with this like coming of age story of a girl finding her mother and reconnecting with her mother, I'm halfway through the book and they haven't even met yet. Their reconnection, from what I'm garnishing, mind you, I haven't finished it, it's not going to be that long. So I'm not quite sure. I say all of this just to say I know there are, and I have some on my shelf right now, of books that are like this, where it's like the emphasis is on the wrong plot point. When you think of a story is going to go a certain way or be about a certain thing, and you read it and find out, oh, it's not really like that at all. This is one of those books. That was sort of where my review was heading whenever I got into the review, but there's a high chance I might DNF this. I don't know. I haven't touched this since like October, and we're like halfway through November, so I did a reading journal that I started. I have some footage of it. I was going to post it and never did. I'll probably show you footage of that, but I started doing a reading journal. There's not that many pages in there. It's not highly decorated and colorful and draw doodles all over the place because I can't draw. I don't necessarily see myself as an artist. I can just write things fairly well, so that's why the pages look so barren. But I have started tracking certain things, such as when I started a book, my thoughts on it, the title, the author, how many pages it has, the genre of it, and how many stars I would give out of it. There are books on there that are in my reading journal that's not on my Goodreads, because one, I don't really use Goodreads as much as like other booktubers do, and I probably should, but at the same time, sometimes I just don't have that much to say. So I feel like I get into the mood where like I don't need to log into Goodreads and type something up, because I get the feeling that like a Goodreads review should be something a little bit chunkier and meatier in content rather than just like, oh, the book was fine, I've also discovered that by genre, I actually do not like YA books anymore. And I actually tend to like books that seem to be classified more as literature. I don't know why that is. I don't know how that is. I don't know. Actually, a couple of the books that I really enjoy too are like uncategorized, if you really think about it. Like most of the books, when I Googled them, their genre came up as like, oh, it's a novel. Novels, the definition of what a novel is so broad that I was just like, I don't even know where to begin with that, right? But majority of the books that I also enjoy are either I just classified myself as literature, or it's just a novel, which is very broad, and to me just means is like a backwards way of saying like it doesn't really fit into anything that we can market, but we know how to market a novel, so we'll just go with that, you know? Besides that, the last thing that I wanted to talk about was I've been writing fan fiction lately, which has been wild because I have not written nor read fan fiction since I was 12. And let me explain to you why I got into writing fan fiction again. The reason is because I was randomly browsing the internet for fan fiction of this fandom I'm in. I don't want to really get into what it was, but I was browsing and I found something where it was like the main character that they wrote about was a black character. And the reason why this was so important to me was because I was like, wow. Not only was it written well, first of all, which I know fan fiction has its own rep and people feel a certain type of way with it and it's treasured in many people's hearts, but it's hard to come by good fan fiction, first of all. So it was well written. Second of all, it had accurate representation. And I know I'm going to listen. It's a slippery slope when you talk about representation, especially when you're talking about fan fiction, because like nobody takes like fan fiction seriously. But it means a lot to people, especially younger people. I don't feel like I'm the target demographic when it comes to fan fiction anymore. Like fan fiction is definitely like 12-year-old, middle school, high school sort of age type of thing. But just scrolling and looking through it, and it's like, I relate to this. I feel for this. The description is on point. You're definitely like not fetishizing or romanticizing like dark skin in like a weird way. Like it was done so well. And like the comments were just like plenty of other people that were like yeah, I feel so like represented and I'm so glad and I'm so happy and so relieved. And in the back of my mind, I was like, this was why I started writing in the first place. And I feel like when I tell people like, yeah, I write, it's weird because like people have the expectation of like, oh, you actually published something. And I'm like, nah, I'm not published. I just write and don't share it with anyone or anything because I'm stupid. It reminded me of like, this was why I started writing in the first place. Like this was why, because there is a genre where that's not necessarily being acknowledged. Like there's a whole group of people that aren't seeing themselves represented in media that's as old as books. Like we still in this year have books that don't have representation in them. And I'm going to get into the whole representation thing because it's one thing to have a book that's about a black person, but then it's a whole nother thing to have it in YA, because I feel like black characters in YA is still a problem. And I get it, like a lot of people don't like to take YA seriously because most books that are praised is usually because it's inherently about the character being black. And I say that because you have books like The Hate U Give, where the whole point of the book is about black issues, like a black identity, the issues that people have with, that black folk have with police brutality and the criminal justice system and like all these issues. But not everyone wants that, is what I'm trying to say. Not to take away from the book at all, but I'm saying that sometimes you want a YA book about a manic pixie dream girl that's black. You get what I'm saying? Don't look at me like that. Don't you look at me like
manic
that.
Manic pixie dream girl?
I couldn't think of any other word.
What does that look like?
How would you explain that? Well, I don't mean it as in like the look of it, but like, you know how like manic pixie dream girls like act like? You know? You picking up what I'm putting down? Yeah. Like imagine a John Green book, but the character was black. Like the girl is black. You get what I'm saying? That's what people want.
Who's John Green?
Don't worry about it, because I don't even like his books anyway. Don't at me, please. But I'm just saying, like, most books, especially, let me tell you about these books that are written by and are marketed towards black people, are usually the most stereotypical thing I've ever seen. Like, it's always like someone's in a gang, someone got shot, someone's ghetto, someone gets pregnant, someone like is a baby mama. Like, I'm over it. I'm so over it. Like, you would think that, especially if it's written by a black author, it would be something a little bit more better than that. But not to say that those stories are terrible, because to each their own. But at the same time, when it's the only thing that it's very obvious when you go into a bookstore or into a library, you can very easily spot the books that are like meant for black people, or like the shelf that's like African American, like what the fuck ever. Like, you know that it's meant for us. So all of that is to say, and the books that are actually good, about black people are usually the ones that is like either, first of all, about an African character, which, not to take away from that, but like me as an African American relating to an African character, girl, is so far apart on the spectrum. That's a whole nother thing in and of itself. But on top of that, it's usually about like a escaping like story, where it's like, oh, they live a life of poverty and poorness, but they have to overcome that. Or it's like someone was stolen from, like, this child was stolen from Africa, and they have to make their way back home. Or this is about a slave that ran away, and they have to run away to free. Like, the concept is always like, you have a black person who is running away or trying to get out of a situation or a lifestyle. Like, that's always the narrative too. And I'm over it, girl. Like, I don't want to take away from these books. They're amazing. They're great. They're brilliant. Yeah, all that. But at the same time, why can't we have the things that, not to be blunt, that white people have? Like, they have all of these stories of fucking Harry Potter, and like all the Wi-Fi, the sci-fi bullshit that y'all be into. What's that fucking book called that everybody and their mama reads? God, I'll figure it out in editing and put it up on the screen. But like all the popular books in YA, it's just like that, like exactly like that, but a black person. I want, you know what it is? I want a story that's about a black person that's not centered around their race, you know? Like, just because black people experience way more things in life than the fact that they're black. I mean, yes, it is a very important aspect of their life, but it's not the only thing. And that is what bothers me. That's what gets me. That's the point that I'm trying to make. I don't even know if that came across as something that makes sense, but take it for what you will. I think that was the end of my little rant. And I went on and on and on about that. That was supposed to be a whole nother separate video in and of itself, but it's in here now. Bitch. Huh?
2-in-1.
I should have an outro, shouldn't I? I should actually like say something. Right. You know, I still have my other outro, right? Where it's like, my darling, I love you, I love you. Yeah, that one. Why you look at me like
such a soft girl.
I was saying outro as in like I
should. Such a soft girl. Don't make that face. You know you are. You marshmallow fucking s'more.
I'm cutting all of this out.
You're like a fucking burnt marshmallow. You try to act hard and tough, but as soon as someone like poke and prod,
Did you call me a burnt marshmallow because I'm black?
No, I didn't call you a. I just said the reason why I called you a.
That's racist. Okay. Regardless, thank you for looking at this video.
That's what you get for
I'm gonna
a video with me here.
I'm gonna call it a vlog. One.
Are we vlogging now?
However,
oh, we gotta get the Supreme merch. We gotta flex on all the like viewers.
Bitch, I have no money. Thank you for looking at this video, and listening to my rantings and ramblings. That's all for now, folks. See you later.
1, 2, 3, funky.